Okay, people. So Anthem, right? It's a new Hulu original. And I had no idea, right? I was very intrigued with what this was. And when I saw the description, I was like, baffled me even more, right? It's directed by Peter Nix. It is produced by Kris Bowers, Ryan Coogler, Sean Harvey, Chris L. Jenkins, and Peter Nix. It is executive produced by Sev Ohanian, Elise Perlstein, RJ Cutler, Zinzi Kugler. It is line produced by Paul Michael Pierre Benoist. Story produced by Liz Hoods, and film produced by Alison Joy Gale. Rebecca Adorno and Christian Jensen both edit the piece. Okay, we got the sound department and music consist of Jacob Bloomfield Mirash, Anthony DeMarco, Greg Francis, Michael Marano Holbrook, Isaac Olson, William Samonson, Jessica Harrison, Stephen Kay, Michael Dean Parsons, Ella May Salaman, and Margaret Yen. So our cast, we have Kris Bowers and DJ Dahi, who are our principals, as it were. There is Joy Hajo, Ruby Amantho, Charity Bogdan, as well as Brianna Nicole Henry, Bowie Noble-Natche, Nicole Hannah-Jones, and Mark Clagu. There's a load more people, but it's just not listed, people. You know what I mean? It's not listed, which is ridiculous. Okay, so the gist is this. Reflecting upon the Star-Spangled Banner, Anthem follows acclaimed composer Kris Bowers and Grammy-winning music producer DJ Dahi as they take a musical journey traveling across America to create a new sound inspired by what the US's national anthem might be if written in today's time. So that's it, right? Which is an interesting notion, right? It is something that I've never sung the British national anthem, and I never will, right? I just think it's a problem. It's a problem, right? But you know what? Fuck it. I don't care, right? And I think a big difference is, like, we don't sing it every fucking day. We don't sing it before. I mean, they do sing it before some sports events, right? Not every sport event. I think it's just the national stuff. Don't do it in schools, but that's different in the States and possibly other countries, right? Whether you sing it in school, you sing it everywhere. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Right? So I'd be super pissed if that was me. If I had to do that shit. Oh man. And when you act, because I think there's singing songs, right? I don't think everyone always pays attention to the lyrics of the songs. So there's oftentimes references to things and you're just like, yo, what? Huh? Now, if it's just a song, whatever. But when it's meant to be the showcase, right? The thing that brings everyone together, that reps everyone, that's a little different, you know. And over the the years, we've just seen more and more dissent around the US national anthem. So I thought, yo, this is interesting, right? This is an interesting idea. And what would it be? So we meet, Powers and Daya at the beginning. So we learn about them and their success, right? And then the question is posed, right? So when they're going to take a journey, right? They're going to take a journey around the states. You think to yourself, okay, interesting. Where will they go? Right? What places? And I think they hit some good spots, right? They go to Detroit, Michigan, Clarksdale, Mississippi, Nashville, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they end up in San Francisco, California. Right? And when you look at that, that's not a bad cross section. And you're getting these different sorts of music, right? These different vibes. And it was very different. So every place they go to, they kind of go to a little jam session. So you've got the local musicians playing music and then they have a conversation. And I think that's always interesting. It's always interesting hearing people talk about the music that talks to them, right? It's like talking about film. When you get to talk about film with a writer, director, just anyone, it is fascinating. You have a fascinating conversation. So hearing musicians talk, that's great. I was all about that. And so it's just the things that are important to them, the things that they might want to hear and have in a national anthem. So we get this wherever we go. And it's just compelling, right? And you often, you hear different things, right? About, well, it'd be good if it could reflect this, or, my story, this story, like the immigrant story, right? All of that kind of stuff. The talking about, the First Nation, right? What about that? How are we going to talk about that? Right? So there's just all of these different things. And then I think the question is also posed when you go to certain places, right? And certain people, how they revere a certain type of music. How would they accept something new? Because over the years, we've seen when people do something a little different with the national anthem, did not always go down well. Didn't always go down well, which when you hear it, you're just like, I mean, come on, it's a song. Everyone's got a different interpretation of a song, right? So what are we doing? What are we doing? But with that, you do kind of scratch your head and go, yes, how can you write something that all of these people will be able to get behind and accept, without people saying, oh, this doesn't talk to me. This is not my music. This is whatever. So they have all of these questions. And, after they visited all these places, we see them, Bowers and Daya sit down and try and work out the musical bed of the song. And I think that's interesting, right? I could definitely have dealt with more of that, right? So they're working that out. And then we see them bring in some of the people they met on their travels to talk about the lyrics, right? To write the lyrics of the song, which was interesting, right? There was definitely an interesting back and forth between man, I cannot remember the lady's name because it's not here, which is irritating. She was in San Francisco. I think it was Rose something. Well, her and Charity have this conversation because Charity comes from a military background, right? Rose was an activist and singer, and I think of Cuban descent, right? So completely different experiences, you know? And it's just like trying to get the tone of the song, right? And it's just like, well, we have to mention this, we have to mention this. And then it's just like, oh, but it should be positive because of this. And then it's just like, well, my experience is this. And but my experience is this. And so it's trying to work through those differences, you know? And it's not like argument or anything like that, but it's just being like, how would we say that and that? How do we do that? Right? So this whole kind of thing of working out the lyrics, and then, right, we have them all go to this big recording studio and the song gets laid down. And it's because we only hear, right, some words get pushed around and being like, okay, and we can have some spoken word in it, and then we can have this, and yeah, we could do that, right? We've heard the a bit of a music that Bowers and Dahi do, but we haven't heard the song, right? We haven't heard like really much of what could be the song. So yeah, then we get to this studio. So you've got, you know, singers, a band, just it's jammed with peoples, right? And then we get the song. And I've got to say, it's not a bad song, right? It's not a bad song. And when you listen to it lyrically, it does hit the points, right? I think it hits the points, right? And I just think, man, just some of the things it's saying, you think, yeah, I kind of feel people could get behind that, right? I think people could get behind that. And as it's ending, you know, when the credits are playing, we have a few different interpretations, like the Oklahoma school band do one, and then three other people do different interpretations, right? So we don't hear the whole thing, but we just hear little bits. And yeah, it's different, right? Works differently, sung in different ways. I'm just like, yo, I think, you know, it seems like it's versatile. It can work in those different ways. So I do think that this was an interesting experiment that has legs, definitely has legs, right? I feel, you know, I kind of think like, I don't know if it's on Hulu, but on the Disney Plus version, you know, internationally, there's not a link to the lyrics, right? And I think they should put a link to the lyrics. You know what I mean? They should put a link to the lyrics. They should put a download link so people can download the song. Because if you want the song to be embedded, right, you need people to be able to sing it and hear it, right? So I think that would be smart. Because yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a bad song. You know, it's if something like this could replace what's currently there, right? Who knows? Can We Are America replace Star-Spangled Banner? I don't know, right? Because you just got those people where this is entrenched in their lives, right? So it's just like I don't know if people would want something new, you know what I mean? But it's interesting. I thought this was a a compelling look at this approach to try and create something that would work in modern times and reflect a smorgasbord of different cultures and peoples, you know? Yeah. I mean, I think you could do this internationally, right? This is Anthem USA. You could do Anthem UK. You could do Anthem, Germany. You could do Anthem India. Like, yeah, because there's not, I don't think there's a lot of good anthems, national anthems. You know what I mean? There's not. I think there's the odd one, right? When you're watching the Olympics, something, Olympics, Commonwealth, things like that, and you have to hear all these anthems. And sometimes you're like, yo, what fucking country was that? That's not a bad anthem. That slaps. All right. You know what I mean? So there's probably a few that are good ones. Not many though. So this is an interesting concept, and it will be interesting to see what happens with it, right? What happens with this song. But yeah, Anthem, people. It's Hulu in the States, and it is a Disney Plus internationally. And I think it is definitely worth a look. All right.